of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discuss everything healthcare. I am your host, Shawn Needham, along with my wonderful wife, Janet. And as always, we stream here on AM 1470 KBSN in Moses Lake, 1 to 2 p.m. every Monday. So tune in also on my personal Facebook page, so Shawn Needham's Facebook page, and the Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy YouTube site. Today on the line, we have Amy Duda, personal trainer out of Las Vegas, and she's going to tell us her story, how she transformed her lives and have transformed thousands of lives after that. Amy, we have you on the line. How are you?
Great. How are you, Shawn?
Doing awesome. So I am going to let Janet, my wonderful wife, take over and interview you so we can find out your wonderful story.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Good afternoon, Amy. I am just honored to have you on the show. Shawn was telling us before we started you're a local gal, and so we are so interested to know your health journey. So if you would share that with us today, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Washington State, Quincy, as you pretty much are probably all aware. And I grew up athlete. I went to college, played college basketball, and then got married at a young age and had a couple of children. And after each pregnancy, I had gained quite a bit of weight, especially after the second. I found myself at 234 pounds, and that was a huge struggle for me, especially being an athlete. Being able to walk long distances was really hard and really defeating. Not wanting to take my kids to the park, etc., was really hard. I found myself, closed off, not wanting, to participate in life anymore. I went from this person being so full of life and wanting to go out and do stuff and living life with enthusiasm to this person I didn't even recognize and trapped in this body I didn't feel comfortable in. And one day, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she came in to me. She had to be just over 3, and she came in, 4, excuse me, came in, and she was so excited, and she was patting my belly, which is something I was very self-conscious about. If you've ever been overweight, you know what I'm talking about. And so immediately I take her hands down, and she looks at me, and I will never forget the look on her face. And she said, "I'm so excited. When is another baby sister or brother coming?" And I realized that she thought I was pregnant again. And I hadn't been pregnant for well over 6 months. And that was an aha moment for me. The fact that she recognized it in her own little innocent way. She gave me, I was devastated, but in her own innocent way, she gave me the best gift I could ever have, and that was waking up and being like, okay, I need to take care of myself, not only for me, but for my children. They were starting to, eat the things that I was eating. They were starting, to do things that I didn't want them to particularly do. So it was about me changing my life. And then, I knew that the rest would follow.
That sounds very common for women that after pregnancy they put on extra weight, and so that is a challenge for us.
Mm-hmm.
And in our society, we just seem to gravitate towards quick food and easy food, so I can see how that happened. So what other things besides social isolation and difficulty with your children? What other things brought this to a head to make the changes besides just your daughter?
I was noticing like health problems.
Okay.
I wasn't sleeping good. My anxiety was up. My depression, um, my depression was really low. That's something that I was bouncing back and forth. My mental health took a huge hit. More than anything, uh, it was having to turn around and look at myself and realize that this isn't the life I wanted to live. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I never wanted to be in pictures. It was so hard to find a picture for Shawn. I wanted to find him a better before picture, but I was literally that good at not being in pictures because I didn't ever want to be in pictures because I didn't feel good about myself. I was the queen of Spanx, you know. Those were my best friend.
Right.
And I was so sick of just having to hide myself, and I just started with one thing at a time. I think fitness and, and, and transforming your life, people look at it and it gets very overwhelming.
True. True.
What do I need to do? What steps do I need to take? The answer is you just need to take the first step, and then you figure out the second step, and then the step after that.
So, did you set small personal goals, like small
Mm-hmm.
steps, and what did they look like?
I did. The first thing that I did was I started eating, stopped eating after 7. I think
Okay.
was the very first thing I started with. I didn't, I wasn't active right away. It wasn't until, a couple weeks of getting some eating habits under control. So I started with not eating after 7, or if I did, it was like a light, healthy snack, something that, wasn't going to stick, and then my water intake. So I worked on those two things. And then once I mastered those two things, then I added something else. I was like, what else can I improve on? What's something else? Okay, I can work on my breakfast. I love breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
I love all of the stuff that is not good for you, breakfast. So
Good
I
for
was like,
you.
what can I work on?
Mm-hmm.
My breakfast. So then I started picking apart my breakfast. And then I mastered that. And then I moved on to that. Little did I know, and this whole time, I'm thinking, oh, this really isn't making a change. This isn't really doing much, whatever. But little by little, all of these choices, little did I know, were adding up to a huge transformation.
That is
You know,
so true. And I think the first step, I think, in my mind in your journey is that self-awareness. It's like it hit you. And so then you were able to set some goals that were realistic for you to achieve. Because when I see with
absolutely.
some clients that we have, it's like, I want this. Well, that ultimate goal is
Mm-hmm.
great, but getting there takes those steps, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, of,
It's the change really lies in the day-to-day choices.
mm-hmm,
I tell my clients every day, what do you have to do in the next 24 hours to guarantee your success for tomorrow? Are you setting yourself up for success for tomorrow? Because the choices you're making today will set you up.
and you were self-motivated partly by your children as well, I'm seeing in your conversation here.
I, I am. I really want them to know what it is to live a healthy lifestyle. And when I say healthy, I mean, we enjoy ourselves. We definitely do. If you look at, you may see me on, social media or whatever and think, man, she must follow the strictest diet. No, we have our nights. We have, everybody has to have something every once in a while. I'm not that person where, you just completely cut out and deprive yourself, because I
Right.
feel like that is unrealistic, especially, with all of the choices we have now today. But yes, my children are my driving force, number one. Mm-hmm.
I think that was a great point that, we need to live and celebrate life and enjoy things. If we try to live like a monk and not have anything in our life to look forward to, but that also means that it's not a daily thing. It's just, okay,
No.
this is an event and this is special, so let's celebrate it. But it's not like throwing it out the window either. So
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. I always try to pick a couple of days where I'll have something where I enjoy myself, and it's one meal.
sure.
It's not, all day long. It's usually like a Wednesday night and a Saturday night, where I'm like, okay, if I want to have, something that I don't particularly have in my diet, that's okay. But I also know I put the work in being active to maintain what I have, so.
So what kind of tools did you start looking for or finding along the way of this journey to health?
Well, the tools, I didn't really know a lot about strength training. I had grown up doing, a lot of sports, so I knew how to run. I knew how to do,
Sure.
those things, but I really wasn't, educated on any of, strength training or anything beyond that. And I really just started looking for, anything I could get my hands on, to read, or anybody that I could talk to that was educated on, where you get started on, the strength training and, the safe approach. I finally met somebody that, introduced me to personal training and said, hey, you would be so good at this. And, no, never. And, I'm so glad that I listened, because it was one of the best decisions, I've ever made. And, he took me under his wing, taught me. I did an apprenticeship, under him. And it was an amazing, experience, and I gained a lot of knowledge from him. So that's how I got into it.
So that accountability to that trainer was probably the next big step that you took.
It was. Finding somebody that you can, that can hold you accountable is really good. That can be a family member. It can, it cannot be a family member. Sometimes,
right.
The best thing is for not to be a family member. But it's always good to have what I call like a bench buddy, or, somebody that, is on a similar journey, to you, to where you guys can, lean on each other or find like people. What I did was I found a lot of, groups, Facebook groups, or people that, or I would go to like exercise groups into a gym, just to be around people that had similar goals or were living the lifestyle that I wanted to live. They say, if you want to be a fit person, do what fit people do. Well, that's what I started doing.
Right.
I literally just started doing what all these fit people were doing,
Right.
So
it's the proximity principle, Ken Coleman nailed it. It's when you are surrounded by people with like desires and goals, when we tune into what makes that individual successful, then we can glean from that and apply that to our lives. So that's great.
I love that. I love that. That's the perfect time for a transition. Proximity principle. We talk about it a lot here. And we're going into our first commercial break. You are listening to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham at AM 1470 KBSN. We will talk to you in a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. If you missed our first segment, we are on the line with Amy Duda, personal trainer out of Las Vegas, and she was talking talking to us about her transformation and about her personal training. And the first question we want to ask in this first segment, Amy, is tell us about your transformation. What was your highest weight, and what do you weigh now?
My highest
I know that's a
weight
very personal
was
question.
234 pounds.
Wow, 234.
I believe it was a little higher than that, but I went through a little bit. I was like not, weighing myself. But yes, 234 pounds. And then the last time I checked, I was 135.
Good for you, Amy.
Yeah.
So before the commercial break, we were kind of touching on the proximity principle about reaching out and hanging around others that had similar goals that we would like to achieve. And so Amy was going to gyms and reading and seeking people out on Facebook. So is that how you decided to become a personal trainer? I mean, in that journey of being around other people, or where did that come in?
Well, I think so. Naturally, when someone loses weight, people get curious, right?
Sure.
So, people got curious. They started seeing me drop the weight, and they're like, "How are you doing this? And social media at that time, this was over 10 years ago. So social media at that time was just becoming really, really big, and so I was, I started kind of posting pictures here and there, and people are like, "Hey, you should do this for a living." And I kind of took it as a joke at first, like, oh, whatever. Like, at 234 pounds, what person thinks at that point in their life that they're going to turn around,
right,
and motivate people to do this, to do what you're doing? So it took, meeting a person that was a personal trainer and said, "Hey, you really got what this takes. Like, I don't know if you understand, what you could do for people. You say you love to help people. You could help so many people." And so I was like, you know what? One day I woke up and I was like, I'm going to do this.
Good for you.
I jumped in both feet in, and it's been an amazing journey. It really has.
You touched on something very important, just the encouragement that people gave you the courage to just jump in without fear. And so that's amazing. I'm glad for you. So tell me a little bit about what it took to be certified as a personal trainer.
It takes, I did a few extra steps, but, usually you have to get certified. It does vary state to state, but I always tell people, if you're going to hire a personal trainer, ask them the questions, ask them experience, even ask for different references from clients that they have worked for. I am always, shooting off, a couple names. Hey, get a hold of this person and this person. I help them with their journey. If a personal trainer, is willing to do that for you, that's super awesome, and it just it proves their credentials. But there's a lot of great programs out there. I did an apprenticeship under Bang Fitness, moving on to ACE, certified personal trainer, and then but there's NASM. There's all sorts of great certifications out there that are great, but ACE and the NASM are the two that I would recommend the most, other than going and getting a 4-year degree in exercise science.
Right.
Other than that, those are the two main ones that I would look for when hiring a personal trainer.
So in your training, you did more exercise training, or did that also help with nutrition as well? What did that training look like?
When I offer training, you mean? Yeah, I do what I call, so I'm not a nutritionist. What I do is I offer nutrition guidance. So my clients, they write down if they would like the nutrition guidance. They write down, or through my app, which I train my online clients through, they can record what they're eating, and then I can look at it and say, hey, this is what I would change. I would change this here. I would add some protein here, take this out here, add this here, and edit it and give it back to them. And then, it's up to them, whether or not they're going to make those, changes.
Sure, the personal responsibility there. And
absolutely. And
I know
go ahead.
I was just going to interject. I know for Shawn and I, we use FitnessPal, and, there's so many apps out there that you can even track your exercise as well as your calorie intake. So they're out there, and they're easy to download on all your mobile devices. So
yeah, and all of those, and my FitnessPal and Fitbit and Apple Watch all connect to my app too. So, I mean, and there are so many different apps, not only my app, that are good for, what I'm doing.
So what does your training look like? Do you use group training? Do you use single, individual? Kind of describe that for us.
Well, it's kind of hard right now to offer group training. I can deliver group, workouts. I'm a personal trainer here in Las Vegas as well, where I train, which we're not active right now because of everything going on.
Sure.
But I train, anywhere up to 24 people at a time, and those are big, groups of people. And then I would have one-on-one sessions here, and then I have my online clientele where they get on through an app, and I train them through there. They get their workouts in their calendar, and it's super easy to use. Great accountability. They can rate their workouts. They get to check in. They get to message me through the app. All the workouts are customized. If you don't know what a certain exercise is, you can literally click on the video. It will pop up and show you how to do it in correct form.
I think that's a really good tool to have, because I know Shawn and I have found ourselves like, what is this exercise, and what does this, and this feels funny. Why does this feel funny? So I really encourage that, because you think you might know how to perform a certain exercise until you actually visually see it. So those apps and clicking on those videos are a godsend. So the other thing that she touched on that I really think, Amy, is really helpful, and I know Shawn has used this, is that being able to comment about what happened during an exercise, because, sometimes we don't realize as we journey along that, how we've improved too. So having those notes really can reflect back, like 2 months ago, I couldn't achieve this, and it wasn't very easy for me to do, and now I got it. So
it's so fun to see on the app when I'll deliver a workout, and the whole week the workouts are rated at like an 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and then the next week it's a 7, and then the next week it's a 6, and I can see them getting stronger, and it's awesome.
I also think one of the things that I've learned in the past few years is, just because one set of an exercise or a day seems really maybe easy, it doesn't mean that it's not doing something. For example, with core, it may seem easy the first time, but then you start building and adding more to it, and it can become more difficult. So, your perception can change over time. So those tools, I think, are amazing. We didn't have those when, we were young playing basketball, for sure. So
I know. And I was thinking the other day that I wish 10 years ago, when I was going through all this, that I had all the tools. I mean, they even have an app that reminds you to drink water. How cool is that?
Right. It is. Yep. So, any age requirement that you have with your clients? What kind of groups are you looking? Men, women?
It goes from person to person. My youngest client is 15 years old, And then my oldest client is 68. So I take all age levels. I generally like to cut it off at 15 for children, but I will say that it is, it is up to the parents, and, and my discretion on that. I get a lot of young athletes, which I love. And then, like I said, my oldest client is 68, and so, and any fitness level as well.
So, Amy, tell us a little bit about your app. It's called Trainerize, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Trainerize.
Trainerize.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that. Just to let our listeners and viewers know, I downloaded the app, and it has a lot of great information. Amy really made it easy to go through the process and set everything up. So yeah, tell us about the app.
Yeah, it's super easy to get started. How the process, lays out is, you sign up with your email, you fill out a consultation form, and this starts the process of building your customized workout program. So when I say customized, it's, based off of, your body, your weight, your height, your goals, where you want to be. I assign before photos, which are strictly confidential, by the way. I assign before photos, measurements, and weight, and we update that every month to continually see progress. I generally don't like my clients to weigh at least for the first few weeks when they're with me, just because it's a mental thing more than anything. But they, once they're all set up, I customize the programs what they need. So all they have to do is go into their calendar, see what they have for that day, click on their workout, and it's all laid out for them. And like I said, they can get on there after the workout. It gives them the option to rate their workout, 1 being effortless to 10 being the hardest, and then they can even leave a comment saying, hey, I really liked this workout, or, man, I really didn't like you today, which I get both sometimes, but yeah, it's all about, the biggest thing about online training is communication, and that's what the app provides. The app is the accountability. I can see when my clients aren't checking into that app. I can see when they're not, if I've seen they've missed a couple of workouts in a row, I'm messaging them going, hey, what's up? So,
right.
It's a great tool for accountability. And like I said, you can connect anything. You can connect your fitness pal, Fitbit, Apple Watch. You can keep track of your food to where I am looking at it, and it will put a deficit in there for you. So, it's a great tool to have. It's a journal. It's a fitness journal, I believe. I didn't have this when I was, and I wish I did.
Right.
Because it would have been, such a great tool to have. And not only Trainerize, but, there are so many different other ones as well that are great.
That's super exciting. You touched on something. I wish some of this would have been available even as a teenager.
Right.
I'm jealous of our 17-year-old son that has everything on the internet and can look things up. And yeah, so very cool. And of course that takes, like you said, the interaction. So, if you're going to go and do a program like this with Amy, you really have to realize that communicating, how something felt or how it went, or asking questions, or even if you're not checking in, why aren't you checking in? Is it, you got a busy workload, or, I know like with Shawn, sometimes it's like he does a lot of writing, and Columbia Basin wind just was not good, or the weather or something, so you need to use those tools appropriately.
Amy,
Absolutely.
Amy, tell us about how if you need a client that needs some extra special help, like with form on an exercise or something like that, can you Skype in with them, or how do you help them with that?
Oh, absolutely. I will send a personalized video. I will get off FaceTime, Skype, whatever it takes. And I am pretty, all my clients have my personal line, just because I know that, they need to be able to reach me. They could be in the middle of a workout and have a question, and, they need that help or that accountability. I've had clients text me on the way, to the gym, I just really don't want to do this. I'm like, okay, but you're going to do it anyway. All right.
Right.
So
Give them the pep talk.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, and it's about time for our second commercial break, so hang on the phone, Amy, and we will be back in a few minutes. We're at the AM 1470 KBS in studio. We'll see you in a few. Hello and welcome back to the third and final segment of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. If you missed the first two segments, you missed out on Amy Duda telling us her personal story, her transformation, and how she's a personal trainer now. Lots of good information. As always, they are archived, so you can go back and look at them on Facebook and podcast forums. So, Amy, welcome back to our show.
Thank you.
And let's see, where did we end off? We were talking about the app. Let's talk about how somebody signs up and, the process from there. So the email.
Well, when they sign up. So the first week, is all about seeing where you're at. I am not a trainer that is going to kill you. I am a firm believer in progression, starting where you're at and working up from there. Like, for instance, I have a few clients starting up this week where we're just getting started with some cardio and core, seeing where they're at, seeing how their body reacts to that. And then, we take it day by day. Usually the first week is all about getting out of those little kinks out, seeing what's going to work, what's not going to work. And then it is on from there. The next 3 weeks is completing each week, just giving, the best that you can. And I can always make adjustments to workouts. That's what you get when you get a personal trainer. A customized personal trainer is what I like to call it, is because I customize it literally to what you need. You have a particular goal, or even injuries. Injuries is something, I have a few clients that have knee injuries, or I have a client that has a lower back injury. How are we going to work on strengthening those areas? How are we going to work around this? How are we going to make it work? Those are the things that you're paying for when you get a personal trainer. You can always go and, get the videos. You can always go and purchase, or watch them even on YouTube, which are great. There are some great resources out there. But there are people out there that need that accountability, that need that extra push, that, they don't know what to do because they do have injuries. They don't want to hurt themselves.
That's so true. I know a couple of years ago I decided to start running again. And, boy, when you hit the age of 50, running is not the same recovery. And so I actually injured my knees. And, in the journey of starting to exercise, there will be some aches and pains that happen, but having somebody to help you and say, maybe this exercise would be better for you to start with or work with. And so I think that's a huge advantage of having a personal trainer, is just, what your body can handle, like you talked about with your clients in the first week, is really important. Because now looking back, knowing what I know, I probably at 50 would not decide to start getting out there and running. So, yes. And I didn't want to just run a little, I wanted to run a mile or two, so.
Right. And another key too is that you can have no equipment or you can have all of the equipment in the world. You could be in your backyard or on the beach. It's my job to customize that workout plan to what you need to achieve those goals.
Right.
Let me worry about that. Let's just keep you accountable.
Right. And then if you run into a problem, because there's problems that probably are going to come up, they have the advice of somebody that knows how to correct that with their exercise program or how to handle a certain injury. So that's
just
super
having somebody in your corner
Mhm.
is huge. Like, people underestimate that. People, I can do this by myself. I can do it, And even if you don't get a personal trainer, just having someone in your corner as a cheerleader, either that's going through it or has done it, makes a huge difference. That's what we're saying about being around like people that you want to be like, or that you are striving to be like, or more like. It's so important. You are most like the 5 people you hang around the most.
So true.
And so, really surrounding yourself with those people is important.
So, Amy, tell us a little bit about how affordable your personal training through this app is.
It is super affordable. I just got done doing my sign-up special, but it is still quite affordable. It is only $50 a month. It is no more than most gym memberships. Especially right now, I'm trying to help as many people as I can because everybody is stuck at their homes. There is no gym access. People have I'm concerned about people's mental health, so I'm trying to going from, charging $150 a month to charging $50 a month is my way of trying to make it affordable for people when have lost jobs or maybe, stuck at home that don't have other options. The fact that I can afford to do this is just a blessing.
That's amazing. So affordable. And I will tell you, heads, my I have utmost respect for personal trainers and coaches. I have a personal coach myself, and you're speaking about all your clients have your personal cell phone, and let me tell you, it's they work out at 9 o'clock at night and on Sundays and Saturdays, so it's a 24/7 job, and it is very, very difficult, and I respect the heck out of personal trainers. So thank you so much for doing what you do, Amy.
Thank you.
So in these you're talking about the times that we're in right now and how that's changed things. So kind of tell us some parting words and how people can get a hold of you during these times.
Well, I'm super easy to get a hold of. You can get a hold of me on Facebook, Amy Lynn Duda, Duda. You can get a hold of me on Instagram, Living Well with Amy, or you can email me under constructionpt@gmail.com. I'm super easy to get a hold of. You can ask me any of the questions. I do free consultations, so over the phone or on Skype or on FaceTime. If you would like to get to know me and ask me some questions, I'm more than happy, to answer. So that is how they can get a hold of me. The most thing that I want to put out there is building those healthy habits, not relying on motivation alone. And that's the biggest piece of advice that I can give someone that is going through the journey, that there is, you're not going to be motivated every day. There is no way to be motivated every day, and that and the way to stick with it is showing up on the days that you don't want to. And pretty soon it becomes a habit, and then there is no second thought in your mind that you're not going to make it happen.
I love it. Thank you so much for being on our show, Amy.
You're so welcome.
All right, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
All right, well, we are not done yet. we are not done with our show yet today. We have about 5 or 7 minutes or so till we finish. One thing I want to talk about today was coronavirus testing. As some of you may know, at Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy, we are at a site. We are offering coronavirus testing, and it's antibody testing. It's different than COVID-19 positive testing. It's antibody testing. And we are having Ready Medi Clinic out of East Wenatchee using our pharmacy as a site so they can come in and draw tests. And if you have any questions, call in, be part of the show. 509-765-1470. We'd love to answer the questions about antibody testing. But essentially what this antibody test will show is if you've been exposed to the coronavirus. So I think there's been a lot of people that have been exposed, and if you had any family members or friends back in December that said that they were sick, or in January that they were sick and they couldn't shake it, they could have been exposed. So what will this show? If we have a lot of people testing positive for antibodies, it shows that they've been exposed and they might be immune to the coronavirus, the COVID-19. So what that would mean would be that hopefully if we can show this to government officials, we can show them how we can get back to work faster, because my goal is to be proactive about this and not reactive, kind of like we are at Health Solutions. We like to educate and empower people, and instead of being reactive and when we need to put out the fire, we like to be proactive. So imagine if we can show some numbers where you can find that a lot of people are immune, and so we should get our economy back to work. That being said, also, another thing that Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy is doing is, because we are a compounding pharmacy, and if you don't know, that means that we mix up our own medications. And we've been doing that for almost 22 years now. One of the things that we're able to do is we're able to make hand sanitizer. As you know, hand sanitizer is in short supply right now. So we decided to go ahead and get the ingredients and make a custom hand sanitizer. During these times, we are offering a free bottle of hand sanitizer. And the way you get that is you call into the show right now. So we would love for you to call in 509-765-1470, and we will get your name so we can get you down for a free bottle of hand sanitizer. Now, as always, and I have said this for years when I teach a compounding class, and I talk to them about hand washing. And 95% of all infectious disease can be transmitted by proper hand washing. 95%. We have known this for years. So hand washing is so important. Hand sanitizer is if you cannot wash your hands properly, it is not a substitute for proper hand washing.
So I also want to interject. I see a lot of people that are wearing gloves for protection, but remember, healthcare providers, they wash their hands and they put their gloves on before they actually touch their patients. Then they remove the gloves and wash their hands again. So please don't go into the store and go to the next store and the next store, or in your car and home wearing the same gloves, because that is just painting the germs that you picked up from the shopping cart or the other touches you had everywhere. So it's a one-time thing. And most nurses will tell you, and doctors will tell you, the reason they washed their hands was to, each time they went into a room, was to not take something into the room of the patient, and then they put the gloves on, treated the patient, touched the patient, took care of them, took the gloves off, then washed their hands again. So washing your hands and not reusing the same pair of gloves is really important.
That is very important, and probably more important than not wearing gloves, or than you'd be better off not wearing gloves if you're not going to change those gloves all the time, because it is just definitely a way to transmit disease. So this Thursday at Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy, we are offering COVID antibody testing to see if you test positive for the antibodies. And it looks like we have a caller be part of the show, so we'll take that call. Give us just a minute here. We'll get the caller on the line. So Thursday, all day, we're gonna be packed. Hello, can you hear us, caller?
Hi, this is David Windish.
Hi, David Windish.
You're giving away hand sanitizer?
We sure are, David. We sure are. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have my assistant take your phone number, and we are going to send you some hand sanitizer. We'll call you back and send you some hand sanitizer, okay?
Okay, I appreciate that.
All right, here she is. And where are you calling from, David?
You're in Moses Lake.
All right. And,
only a couple blocks from the station there, actually.
All right, and do you listen to our show every week?
Once in a while.
All right. We love to hear it. So I'm going to give you to my assistant, and she will get you set up with some hand sanitizer, okay?
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, well, it looks like we are about ready to wrap up the show here. So we are going to wind the show up. And as always, we stream live at the AM 1470 KBSN studio every Monday, 1 to 2 p.m. And next week we have Amy and Jennifer. We have two guests on the line. They are from New Health, KNEW Health. They are a health sharing program. As you know, we've talked about them a lot on the show, especially when I talk about my book. And they will be here to tell their story and to tell a little bit about their program. So tune in next Monday at 1 to 2 p.m. Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discusses everything healthcare. And we will talk to you next week.